Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Coach Tiffany Parra, editor-in-chief of Phoenix Fitness Fanatics magazine, elevating your mind, body, and spirit. Today, we are taking center stage on the Own It Publishing platform with one of our amazing contributing writers, and we just want to say Happy New Year, and we're going to dig into some good stuff right now. So let me go ahead and bring her on in. What's going on, Eva?
It's like we just spoke yesterday, but it's another year. It's a happy newer year. How's that?
It is so crazy how quickly 2024 just like blew by, right?
Yeah. First it was January, and I was thinking, God, this feels slow already, right? Last year. And then June came along, and I'm like, and then they're talking about elections coming up in a few months. And I went, few months?
And now we're in a whole new year. Like, what's going on?
Which I'm okay with. It's going to be a good year.
I am too. I think, you know what, honestly, 2024, it for me, it was a great year. You know, for some that I've talked to, you know, they said it was a roller coaster of a year. I like roller coasters. So, you know, it was a roller coaster of a year, but, you know, I'm still on a little bit of a ride, even going into 2025. So it's amazing. That's what just keeps me going, you know, is just that craziness, right? But let's talk a little bit about, you know, like as we move into the beginning of the year, you're hearing all these people, you know, talking about setting those resolutions and things like that. And, you know, I stopped setting resolutions a long time ago because, you know, we already know. I mean, people don't stick to them, right? I mean, we were just talking about that.
I know. The stat is kind of crazy. So you have people still, the hopeful ones, the youngins, you know, the Gen Zs and maybe the baby portion of the millennials. They're still setting, you know, some New Year's resolutions, but only 10% of them are realizing those goals. Hey, that's sad. And the rest of us are like, we don't set them. But I don't think it's so much that we're just not setting them. I think that successful people, you know, when we do a little bit better and we get older, we get wiser, hopefully that's the hope, that we don't wait for the New Year's to start something new and to improve ourselves. And I think that's what we're actually tracking and seeing, is that we're on the down low or simply deciding not to make any changes. So
honestly, like for myself, you know, like you said, we don't necessarily set those resolutions anymore. It's just more of an intentional thing, you know, just all the time, right? I mean, I know for myself, keeping that fitness goal, I have to make sure I get up and I go to the gym, or I get up and I go for the walk. I, you know, lift the weights. I, you know, am intentional on what I'm eating, because I know that's going to get me to where I need to be.
Yeah, but I think there's a wonderful mindset behind that needs to be developed. It is not something that we're born with. Right. It's not a default setting, if you will. If we were computers, we come with the programming, but you have to know where to double click. That's very old school, but you do have to know where to click, what to run, what to open, what to develop. You know, it's like it's a learning curve. It
is.
And I don't know that. Yeah. So there you go. I started asking the question.
Look, that's what kind of party this is. So seriously, you know what? You can ask away as well. You know, I love that. I do. So please ask your question.
You brought up this really great point about, like, you have to make sure you get up. But what made you decide that you wanted to have a fitness goal?
Well, I think for myself, it was being in a situation where they're like, hey, you know what, if you don't make some changes, you know, you could die, or you could have this happen or that happen. So it was a health situation for me, but it shouldn't have even gotten to that place. You know, I should have already had, you know, that, but no, that was what jarred it. And it was like, hey, wait a second, I got too much other stuff going on here. And you're telling me that I could be checking out of here. Let me start making some changes. And I started talking to other people, and I really kind of started looking around at people that were in my situation before, but are on the other side of it, and just watching like what they did, I started following Ernestine Shepherd, who I think, God, Ernestine, I know she's in her late 80s now. And, she started working out and lifting weights at like 50 and just looking amazing, and just kind of following her journey. I'm like, you know what? I can do this. And I just started. I mean, it took baby steps, and I think that was the key for me, was baby steps. And I think that's what people don't do, right? And that's where they run into a wall a lot of times, because they have this big, okay, you know what? If I would have said, I'm going to lose 30 pounds in 30 days.
That's unreasonable.
Totally.
Well, let's talk about why that's unreasonable. That's a great example. And I think that's an example that a lot of both men and women, because we set that goal. Why? Not because we're shallow, but because we human beings, that animal part of us, we know that health, a healthy body is an attractive body. And that's the opposite of the fat shame. It's not about, oh, you're fat in there, how dare you, and why, blah, blah. It's not about that. It's about if you want your body to run optimally, then it runs best in not thin. We're not talking about too thin. We're talking about ideal. And so it's like you can be, and then I'm bringing up a bunch of points here because this is how my brain works. But I hear all the time from both men and women, I want to lose the blank amount of weight for my wedding.
Yeah.
Well, whatever motivates you, but can we be, what's going to happen after the wedding? Do you want to keep that person in your life? Like, let it all hang out, so it's like what is learning to motivate yourself as another part of this conversation too. And the expectation, because if we don't achieve it within 30 days with that unrealistic expectation, or maybe getting to that goal in an unhealthy way, is it sustainable, right? Is it going to come back on? What's that doing to your body long term? Like, you get in the situation where you were in, where you're receiving news, if you don't lose this weight, or the complications that your body is experiencing as a result of carrying this extra weight is going to escalate and what I call cascade into a litany of all kinds of chronic illnesses that are far harder to live an optimal life with them hanging on you like baggage. So,
absolutely. Yeah.
It's a huge conversation. And so, like, what do you do when you fail that first day and you get up and you're like, I don't feel like it?
You got to just keep going. I mean, you can't like be so hard on yourself, and that was the mistake that I used to make. And that was where I had to kind of go back and look at, okay, you know what? Like, you've been on this roller coaster ride of weight your whole life, girl. Like, come on. Let's see what you're doing wrong. And every single time I would lose a bunch of weight, it was because, I'm doing it for this, I'm doing it for that, right? But once it got to a point where you have no choice but to do this, or you could be out of here. Like, I mean, that's just it. Or you could be at a position where, you have a stroke, a heart attack, something where now you're not able to live that optimal life. And that just, really flooded my head. I had lost my father from a heart attack. So that was another thing that was just like, no.
That's how I lost my ex-husband. Yeah, we were divorced for 12 years. And I was on the phone with him 2 weeks before he died. And he was complaining to me about all of this stuff, including heavy weight. He's like, I got all of the doctor says I'm swollen. That's how he said it. I'm swollen. And I'm like, I've seen you. I'm pretty sure that's more than just water. So he was complaining about all these other things that were chronic conditions. And I had just become a practitioner. This is back in 2011. And so I just become a practitioner, and I says, you know what, why don't you send me some of your hair? Because that's what I find out what your body needs ideally. Send me some of your hair. We'll figure out what's wrong and we'll fix it. And, being the ex-husband, he just naturally took this course of laughter. I'm fine. Yeah, I don't need any help. The doctors have me on medication. And 2 weeks later, I'm getting that phone call from the hospital, your ex-husband has passed away. He had a massive heart attack. We couldn't recover him. Now he was 45 years old.
Mm.
And he was on 17 medications. And that is a life of living precariously by default.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a shame. It's an absolute shame. He missed his children, our children growing up and graduating high school and, having the lives that they, being a part of it. He's gone. So this is just what can happen at any age. Because I had lost a lot of my ideal energy by the time I was 20, before I even had kids. And the doctors were not giving me the answers that we're talking about today as possible things to do. And I feel like they're between a rock and a hard place, because you find some doctors that are like, you know what, if you exercise every day, and people go, nah. If you stop eating sugar, and they go, nah, can you give me a pill? Like that's the result. But there are, if you find the right clients, or in their case, the patients who are willing to make the physical lifestyle changes, then you want to match those up with the right doctors and healing practitioners. And that's who we're speaking to today, is those who want to make that change in a natural way, not end up at 45 in the hospital having a heart attack. Like, that's just crazy.
Right. And on 17 medications, you said.
That's crazy.
That is just crazy. And you're looking at this medication is supposed to be helping this medication because it has all these side effects. And I mean, I could not even imagine. So, I mean, and there's so much, and there's so much natural stuff out there, especially now. And it's like, just do your research and be open-minded, Open-minded.
And then you brought up a really, really excellent point. You said you were talking to people who had been where you were at the time and have the result that you wanted. And I think that's the biggest clue, because who we listen to and who we hang out with is a massive part of our success or failure. And then, God, I love the juiciness and how much we can unpack around the living by default versus living by design, because the less we care about what other people's opinions are, especially friends and family who look and feel the way that we don't want to look and feel. Like when somebody offers a recipe to me, I actually look at their body and I'm like, I don't want to look like that. I'm not going to bake it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's real stuff, You have to, and I mean, you could maybe take that recipe and try to make it healthy. I do that, I will do that. I will take a recipe and maybe take, a certain meat that maybe I don't eat a lot of and exchange it out for something else, or even try to do like a, vegan version of it. But that's so true though. I mean, because like when you look at a person, you can tell what kind of lifestyle they have.
Yeah. It's self-evident. And it's also living by default rather than by design, because if we know that the body functions better, and that's a big if, because not everybody does know that, it functions better when it's fit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and I can't say that I'm in shape, but I'm certainly not a blob either. And so there's like you, I have fitness goals that I am achieving, and it's an ongoing thing. And so I think a lot of people quit because they don't get to that, this 8-pack or whatever it is that they're trying to achieve within the time frame, and then they quit. Well, just extend the deadline. When you get there and you're like, okay, I shot for the moon, but I made it to outer space at least. Give yourself credit for that.
Celebrate. I mean, because that's what people don't do. They end up going into this whole, oh man, I didn't make it to that. I don't look like that. Well, go back and look at the pictures of when you started, and then look at yourself in the mirror, because that change needs to be celebrated so you can continue to push through, because that's the thing that makes people take those steps back, So, yeah.
Well, and two, it's about cataloging. So this is why I came up with that essential energy quotient test. And I love for people to take that, because they can see clearly what their energy resources are. What does that mean? It's like your FICO score for how well you can heal.
Yeah.
And so on there is a list of symptoms that you could be experiencing, like muscle pain, joint pain, headaches, itchy skin. Like there's over 100 different symptoms plus lifestyle factors that you're asked about.
Yeah.
So it helps raise your awareness. Oh, I could be doing that instead of this. Oh, okay. I'll try that for the next 30 days and then retake the test. And you can see kind of where you fall. But the clue here is when you retake the test, you can see the difference between how you felt, what symptoms you were experiencing, and now you're not, because we forget. We feel good. We have that release experience of like, oh, I feel better. And we have amnesia about how bad we felt. But if it's written down, especially on this test, then you can at least compare befores and afters. So yes, look in the mirror. Yes, take pictures before and after along the way, celebrate along the way, but also, and oh, that just popped into my head. Don't celebrate with a McDonald's shake, please. So we are. I have a story about that.
I wouldn't do a McDonald's shake, no, because of all the chemicals and things. But
any shake at all. I was going. So we have nearby here in Culver City was this thing called the Culver Steps, and it's been there. Right. Okay, you've been there. So people running up and down. So my girlfriend and I and her family, we're all going up. We're walking. We're not running. But there's this, goddess looking woman. She's coming down the steps, and my girlfriend, she goes, I want that body. And this is her first day on the steps. And I go, okay, we'll just keep doing the steps and working out. And I said, that's the goal. So we get to the bottom, backed up the top, went to the bottom. Oh God, let's go to McDonald's. Let's get that shake. I'm going to reward myself. And I'm like, oh. This is the mindset shift. It's like we have to stop thinking that food is a reward, all of that. Anyways,
how about go and get a pedicure? How about some self-care? I mean, that's usually the reward that I give myself because that's the stuff that I didn't give myself before, and that's why I wound up being in other health issues because of not giving myself that self-care and that relaxation that I needed. So now I enjoy, really doing my workouts because it's like, hey, I know after that, like 30 days of working out, if I hit that goal that I set for myself, yes, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to, the day spa, or I'm going to go hit Salt Oasis and get, a salt cave session or something like that. Something that I know I don't do often, but I deserve it.
I'm looking forward to that Salt Cave experience. That's going to be February 22nd, right?
Yes. February 22nd. So it's going to be so great. So look, anybody out there, especially in the LA area, okay, we're doing our conference on February 22nd. We have our women's conference. We had our men's conference in March 1st. So we're going to be hitting Salt Oasis, y'all. So definitely come and join us. Salt Oasis is magical. And just the power of Himalayan salt. So yeah, but yeah, let's just get back to, like the way that people reward themselves, even rewarding yourself with like, say, an outfit that you've been looking at that maybe you tried on and it didn't look as good as you wanted it to at that time, right?
Yeah. I know I spend a lot of money on new clothes after I get to a goal. Oops. That's a little overboard, Eva. Or I'll buy something for the house because I love aesthetics. I love the things to be pretty and functional. It's very pragmatic. Yeah.
Stuff that makes you feel good, not stuff that is, honestly, I mean, we joke about the shakes and things like that, but yeah, don't reward yourself like that because that is really binging. And I learned about that the hard way, because I did do that. I was that one that would, oh man, I just did that. Let me go ahead and reward myself with this. And then I'm like, wait, why am I at a plateau? Why am I doing all this work and I'm at this plateau? And it's because every time I would like hit I hit 5 miles. Let me go and, I would go and give myself like an ice cream sundae or, something that was, some kind of sweet treat. But now I also, even with the sweet treats, I kind of changed it up. I love bananas and I love chocolate and I love dark chocolate now. I used to hate dark chocolate until I started going through this journey. Now I like dark chocolate because of the health benefits of dark chocolate.
Well, it's
You
very
know?
interesting that you bring that up because our taste buds do change as our mineral content, that's the work that I do is mineral balancing science. And so as our minerals, what makes us up changes, our taste buds change.
And that's so
Very
awesome.
interesting. I know it's very awesome. We go from like, I thought I hated vegetables to, I think I really want some broccoli and I want some steamed. Like we go through this different phase and like put some butter on it. It's okay. Fat's good for you. Good fat's good for you. There we go. So,
Thing that you brought like broccoli, like I used to hate what is it, the Brussels sprouts and asparagus, all those
they're
things.
yummy.
I'm like, I'm not gonna touch that. Now it's like I can't get enough of it. Celery and things like that. I mean, I love drinking the celery juice and all that stuff. And these are things that I used to not be able to stand. Now I just absolutely love it. So it's like, hey, I guess, it's like that my body's getting back where it needs to be. And I'm sure it needs to be, I think I got to get in there and get that mineral balance done. About that though, share a little bit with the audience about kind of like what you do with that.
Yeah. Well, this is where I love to get into about the living by default versus the by design. So this is like a by design upgrade. If you are going from diet to diet or from fad supplement to trendy meal replacement after another and thinking, oh, I'm keeping up with health trends, this is healthy. No. So it's basics. I know it's a little scary. We spend a lot of money and I'm like, just let's put it into things that we know will work. Well, okay, if we give our body what it needs, it does what? It heals itself. That's old Eastern medicine philosophy that Western medicine is just now catching up to. They still have the arrogance of, we'll just give it a pill. But if you're past that and you want the natural stuff, give your body what it needs and it can heal itself is the key. And then the next logical question is, well, how do we know what the body needs? Well, you can do blood tests, but that doesn't give you the whole story. It gives you part of it. Go get your blood tested. But we don't test our hair. And so when you test your hair, you can see a month's worth of history. How is your body processing everything you're giving it? What is the metabolic function? How are you able to get rid of the toxins that we are exposed to every day? And that's what this takes care of. It plugs into your natural body's programming that says, I know how to heal. You give your body what it needs. It goes, oh, I know where that mineral goes. It's being replaced by a toxin over here. I'm going to pull it out and I'm going to get rid of it. So our job is to support it along the way. Work out, drink a lot of water, get your rest, get your sleep, two different things, right? And then supplement. It's with what, how much, and what kind that matter. And we take all of the guesswork out of that. How many times have we gone into like GNC or even Costco and just picked up like, I think I need a multivitamin. We have no idea if that's the right multivitamin for our metabolic type right now, because guess what? It changes. So based on your needs, we see that in the hair. This is your trash. All of this is lovely, right? My trash. And it gets charted. I'm looking for one nearby. I don't have one. Oh, I do. It's somebody's that just came in over the weekend, and I'll kind of blur out his name with my finger here. But the idea is it gets charted so we can see clearly what's going on with this person's body. I make sense of all of this gibberish. You can see this is where we're supposed to be in ideal. He's far outside of ideal. So we're going to fix that and get his body working in an ideal place, not in a place that means he reaches an ideal weight or an ideal or what the doctor says his blood pressure should be, or what the doctor says his cholesterol should be. It's where the body is ideal. And so we can see that. And I get rid of a ton of chronic illnesses through this process. It's the same process for everybody, but it's a unique journey for everybody. And that's what you need: somebody who has been where you are, has what you want, vital health, optimal health, and then can coach you along the way, because most of us can't do it by ourselves. Most of us can't. Yeah. So you need somebody who's not a cheerleader, rah. Sometimes I'm not very good at cheerleading. I was always I was usually like, on the field. I was what people were cheering for. So I know how to be an athlete like you. And so this is like, puts you into this place of your body's moving through, getting rid of, and you can see the difference between failure and success, a setback versus a healing reaction, what that means, how your body communicates. So that's a whole lot about the program. It's called Reveal Optimal Health Program. And it's something that I'm doing for my whole life. It's not something you do for a little while. You can, but best results, if you want optimal living and longevity, this is something you adopt. You do it for life. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So let's talk a little bit about, this is a new year, right? And a lot of people are out there, they're trying to find different things to do and stuff. So you've got some real good stuff coming up here in 2025. So can you share a little bit about what you have for the audience to tap into for 2025?
Oh, gosh. Well, I'm implementing. So I do have something that's coming up in August that we can prepare for right now. And it's the Alaskan Healing Cruise. I'll be doing that August 21st to the 28th. It's a round trip boat ride from Seattle. Ship. It's a rather large ship. And we'll be doing on the cruise is healings. And so I'm offering ways to get into the body's energy systems and clear you of all of the things that could be holding you back from achieving your goals. We have a lot of those that are ancestral, lovingly. Our ancestors, that when they pass, a piece of them comes back to us as an inheritance, if you will. Well, you don't have to live by their problems. You can clear that out. We can get rid of old wounds, karmic issues, things from childhood, things from recent past, even car accidents that will hold us back from doing the things we want to do out of fear. Yeah, I know. We get into a car accident and the next thing you know, we're like, I don't want to cross the street now. It can do some things to us. And so living life by default and just letting things pile up one after another will keep us from living the life that we really want and deserve. And these healings clear all of that away from the past. We get rid of that baggage and then clears the pathway for the future. So when you walk, you're not tripping.
Oh, man. And see, we all need that. Seriously, we need to get rid of these little speed bumps so we can just really just soar. So I just love what you're doing with just everything. So, Eva, you have any words of wisdom, words of encouragement from anybody for as they're just starting this year? We are in the 3rd of January. What's some words of wisdom? Something that just, man, because people might be going through something.
Yeah, don't give up on yourself too soon. And it's that get up and try again if you think you have failed, because if you have started any sort of resolution at any point in time, whether that's on the first or previous to it, and you're like, you know what? I didn't complete that. Oh, well, I'll just put it down and I'll forget it. Well, why not get up? Why not decide to do something a little different with it? Split it up into smaller goals. Split it up into, something that takes a little bit longer, is more sustainable, and don't focus on the result that you think you want. Focus instead on, I'm doing this for my optimal health. If we change how we're thinking about our motivation, then more likely we're going to be successful.
That's right. So don't be so hard on yourselves, people. All right. And make sure you chunk it out and celebrate everything. Celebrate the little wins, celebrate the big wins, and everything in between, because that's really what's going to help to push us forward. So, Eva, I want to thank you for just coming and, just again, being part of the Phoenix Fitness Fanatics family, for one, and sharing your brewing on the platform, sharing your articles in our magazine monthly. If you guys have not subscribed, definitely subscribe, because you want to read these articles. We've got our contributing writers like Eva. They're going to be the ones to help you to get to the other side and level up in 2025. So definitely subscribe, tap in. We love y'all so much, and we're going to see y'all next time. Take care, everybody, and Happy New Year.
To the next level.